Get yourself a camera and a microphone and go for it. MashaAllah. Let's call you Ustad. Let's call you Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum. Got a question on Facebook from Ma'roof, and Ma'roof is asking, Assalamu alaikum, Doctor, I follow your Scattered Thoughts series and love them. I do have a question for you. Is it correct to use verses of the Quran which actually describe kafirs to defame and describe another Muslim person or group and label them based on these verses, on those verses? And I'm gonna include another question actually, because they both came around the same time, and I'm wondering if this has to do with something that happened over the past week. And this other question comes from Abu Bakr. And Abu Bakr is asking that in the context of a recent phenomenon of young layman Muslims on social media calling out and quote-unquote refuting scholars and their works and commentary in the name of Ahl Sunnah. I have a close friend who has followed one of these individuals, I won't name them, who has a large following, and this individual has made several videos calling out scholars such as so and so and so and so. I'm not going to mention the names. Basically, most Western-based scholars. The individual calls people to avoid these scholars whom he seems deceivers and innovators of the deen. You know, this reminds me of a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said that ما ضل قوم من بعد هدى أتاهم إلا وأوتوا الجدل, that no people were misguided after guidance that they have received except through argumentation and disputation amongst each other in matters of the religion. In fact, there are very few times in which you can find the Prophet ﷺ got really angry to the point of a vein popping in his forehead. Very few times. And one of those times, if you look through the seerah, was when people were arguing in matters related to the religion. That's when he got really upset. You know, there's verses in the Quran that talk about this, but one that just comes to my mind right now is in Surah Al-An'am, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا لَسْتَ مِنْهُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. That those who have divided their religion and become into sects and groups, you have nothing to do with these people. Nothing at all. The use of religion to divide between people, between Muslims, for the sake of, I mean, think about it for a second. There are individuals that have come across time. We don't know their names because they're insignificant historically. They were dropped into the dustbin of history. In Arabic we call it مزبلة التاريخ, because they are garbage. They made their name and their fame during their time by talking about other scholars and other people. And this has not stopped. It's been going on for millennia now. It's going on for centuries. It's a problem that this ummah has been afflicted with. And they all do it in the name of protecting the religion. I'll save you something. I'll save you some energy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about this religion as overall, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Surely we have, certainly we have, i.e. the we that is the royal we have brought down this dhikr, this remembrance, specifically the Quran, and by extension everything that is to serve the Quran, meaning the tradition. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the matter, the affair of safeguarding the religion from the hands of people, and He has vowed Himself that He will make sure to safeguard it. So the ultimate responsibility of safeguarding the religion is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not with individuals, not with people. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has relegated this issue to people, they've lost it. They've allowed things to enter into it and things to exit out of it, and they hide some things and expose some things and just to benefit themselves. And so you have alterations in the religion. That did not happen with Islam. We've had people that had different opinions and such, but the ummah overall is united amongst what is true and what is not true. And one of the things that the ummah has united over is trying to divide the ummah into, the first question from Ma'roof, using verses of the Quran to describe fellow believers that these verses were actually revealed about disbelievers to describe fellow believers, this is the act of what the Prophet ﷺ called the Kharij. What the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't use the word Kharijas, but what became later known as the Kharijites. Those who have defected from the Ummah and decided that they're going to be upon the Haqq. And he ﷺ said about such individuals, you're going to see these people and they're going to be very impressive outwardly. Very impressive outwardly. They're going to have all the right signs. They're going to have the beards. They're going to have the hijabs or the niqabs even. They're going to have the lingo down. تتكلمون بألسنتنا. You know, من بني جلدتنا. That they're going to use our tongue. They're going to say things from the Quran. يتكلمون بقول خير البرية. يقولون بقول خير البرية يمرقون من الإسلام كما يمرق السهم من الرمية. That they will say things from the Quran, they will say things from the Hadith, they will quote all kinds of things. But the way that you know if someone is on batil, on falsehood, or on truth, you look at the ultimate goal that they're trying to achieve. If their ultimate goal is to divide between Muslims, you know there's a hadith that's so significant to this. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ أَيِّسَ أَن يُعْبَدَ فِي جَزِيرَةِ الْعَرَبِ. That, by extension, he's talking about Muslims. That shaitan has given up. He has forsaken the idea that he's going to get Muslims to worship him in any way, to become polytheists, to become so deviant. He has given this up. He's like, that's it. And the Prophet ﷺ actually made a dua. He tried to make a dua about this. And that was the one dua that the Prophet ﷺ did not get answered actually. إِلَّا فِي التَّحْرِيشِ بَيْنَكُمْ. That shaitan is going to succeed in one thing, creating animosity between you people. He tried. He ﷺ said, لَا تَجْعَلْ بَأْسَهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ. Oh Allah, do not make the aggression between each other, between Muslims. And Jibreel alayhi salam came back and said, this particular one, because of the qadr, because it's been already written, this you're not going to get. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to descend the punishment that wipes them out. You got that one, but this particular one, where they're not going to fight amongst each other, it's already been written. They're going to fight amongst each other. I mean, there's so many verses. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? وَقَالَتِ النَّصَارَى Surah Al-Baqarah. وقالت النصارى ليست اليهود على شيء وقالت اليهود ليست النصارى على شيء وهم يتلون الكتاب كذلك قال مثل الذين لا يعلمون كذلك قال الذين لا يعلمون مثل قولهم. That the Jews have said that the Christians have nothing, and the Christians have said that the Jews have nothing, and they both read the same book. Like them, those who don't have an understanding, who don't have knowledge in this religion, like them, they've also repeated the same statements. Now if you look at the tafsir of Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi, he says, we have been afflicted with the same problem, that we have a people amongst us, Muslims, who have defected and decided that what they have is the ultimate truth and nothing but the truth. Whereas everybody else who's reciting the same Quran and citing the same hadiths, those people, they said they're disbelievers. This is such a problem. My advice, Abu Bakr, what you can tell your friend, there is a verse in Surah Al-Baqarah at the beginning where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing who the believers are, who the disbelievers are, and who the hypocrites are. And he says that one of the qualities of the hypocrites is that وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. When they are told, do not sow corruption in the earth. Do not sow corruption in the earth. They claim back, they say back, they retort by saying, we're just fixing things. أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْمُفْسِدُونَ وَلَكِنْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Verily, most certainly, they are the ones sowing corruption, but they don't know it. They're too blind. They have no insight to recognize what they're doing. So, and Imam al-Qurtubi says in his tafsir that one of the signs that somebody's sowing corruption is when they claim that they're trying to fix things. Once you start making claims about what you're doing, oh, I'm trying to safeguard the ummah, I'm trying to be this, I'm trying to be that, that actually is a red flag that should go up in your mind. We're like, this person you should watch out for. So, I don't know, when you see young people all of a sudden clamoring up, I mean, the thing about social media is this democratization of a platform. Everybody and anybody can get a camera, get a mic, set yourself up a scene or whatever, without having spent any time studying, not doing anything. And even when you're studying, I mean, I could tell you, man, there was one time, just so like, I'm going to share with you one thing. There was one time I was studying when I was first beginning to study, and it was Matn al-Akhdari. It's this very basic text in Maliki fiqh, one of the first texts that you study in Maliki fiqh. Imam al-Akhdari wrote it for 7-year-olds, and now we're studying it when we're older. A few years ago when I was studying this with my teacher, may Allah safeguard him, he was asking me a question, because there was one of the lines that we went across was وَتُكْرَهُ الصَّلَاةُ فِي السَّرَاوِيلِ, that prayer is, it's disliked to pray while you're wearing pants. Now, sirwal is pants, that's how you translate it. But my teacher asked me, and I found out afterwards that he was actually testing me. He said, sirwal, what is sirwal? My answer, my immediate go-to answer is, I don't know. La adri. What is sirwal? Such a simple thing. I don't know what sirwal is. That was and he said, ahsant. The test was, are you able to say, I don't know? Are you able to take a step back and recognize your position as a student? That you're someone who's supposed to be studying and not refuting people that have been spending years on end studying and trying to master this tradition as best as they could, and serving the ummah as best as they could, and leading as many people into this religion as best as they could, and showing people the grand mercy and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and trying to speak to people according to their state and getting them to improve their condition. Whenever you see people trying to refute, so-called refute such individuals, that is a sign that you're dealing with shayateen al-ins, as my teacher would call such people. And it's such a nuisance. I wish we had some way to control this, but unfortunately we live in a time where everything has regulation. I mean, you can't go and practice law without a degree and a license and being licensed by the bar. You can't practice medicine without having a license by the College of Physicians and having gone to med school and done your residency and all of these things and being licensed. A lot of things you can't just do on your own. But when it comes to religion, hey man, get yourself a camera and a microphone and go for it. MashaAllah. Let's call you Ustad. Let's call you Sheikh. Let's call you Imam, Allama, Fulan ibn Fulan. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. This is really upsetting. Anyways, long video. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Assalamu alaikum. So, now you've seen some of the videos. I'm going to be trying to post these scattered thoughts, I'm actually going to call it, because they're just scattered thoughts, as often as possible. I'm trying to go for a minimum of 4 times a week, but I'm trying to build this platform. So, on YouTube. So I'm hoping that if you enjoy this content, that you would subscribe, like, comment below, and share this video, and tell your mommy, tell your daddy, tell your pops, tell your grandpa, tell your grandma, tell everybody. If there is any benefit that can be derived from these, I would really appreciate it if you can spread it.